Welcome to Gentle Yoga with Leo Bray, here on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center, Palm Springs. Visit us on the web at urbanyoga.org or on Facebook at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center to check out the schedule and stop by the tip jar where you can make donations to support our online classes. We'll start out today in a reclined posture, not necessarily this one. This is my give the intro spiel posture. You could start lying flat in Shavasana or plant the soles of your feet and let your knees lean towards each other. You could scoot over by the wall or the couch and elevate your legs. You could bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees stick out and maybe support your legs with blocks. While you do that, I think that's where I'm going to start today. And you could come up with something else. Those are just some reclined postures. Find a position that's comfortable for you in which to begin your practice. Maybe that involves resting your hands on your body to tune into grounding or breath or heartbeat. Maybe hands just resting on the floor. Close your eyes if you want. Notice your breath to get started on letting it slow down and get deeper. Scan your body to take in whatever sensations are there, noting particularly any trouble spots, any soreness or stiffness that you'll want to keep in mind during practice. Remembering, as always, that you are welcome to modify, welcome to skip any part of the practice I'll be offering. Sometimes I will modify or skip something I'm narrating and not even demonstrate it the way I'm describing it. Let's take 3 deep, clearing breaths. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sigh. Let your eyes slowly open if they're closed. Start to come out of your starting posture. If you have your feet together and your knees open, as I do, let your arms do the work of nudging your knees up towards each other. So let's all come here to this posture with soles of the feet planted, knees pointing up, heels in close to your butt. If you had blocks in your opening posture, move them back here out of the way. Reach your arms out to the sides with your palms facing up. Cross your right ankle above your left knee. Keeping your shoulders grounded, let your legs fall to the left and turn your head to the right. Without worrying about how far anything goes, just let it go, see where it wants to go. Allow your breath to wring you out. And your legs will go wherever they need to. Come back up to center. Cross your legs the opposite way. And when you're ready, slowly come into the opposite twist. Come on back up to center. And uncross your legs. Hug your knees to your chest. Explore rolling in circles or rocking side to side. Now let's mix things up a little bit. We'll do some full body stretches, but instead of reaching your arms and legs straight out, picture yourself like bird's eye view, making a big X. So inhale, reach your arms and legs all the way out with some more distance between your hands, some more distance between your feet, and exhale, curl up again. See how that feels. If it doesn't feel good, go back to the usual full body stretch where you're just sort of lengthening parallel to your mat like this. And sometimes it's just interesting or maybe even fun to incorporate a change for the sake of change. And then let's start to sit up. You might hug your knees and rock forward and back. If this doesn't feel good, you can tip onto one side, press your hands to the floor, let your arms do more of the work to sit you up. Get comfortable sitting or kneeling. Letting your arms hang loose at your sides. Raise your right shoulder up towards your ear. Slide it back and let it down. And then your left shoulder up and back and down. Inhale, reach out to the sides. Exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself. Bring your chin over towards your shoulder. And draw a semicircle slowly. Let your chin roll down past your sternum. And then up towards the other shoulder. And back again, nice and slow. Then face forward. Inhale, spread your wings. As you exhale, cross the opposite way, have another hug. And again, bring your chin over to one shoulder and let it roll down through center and up to the opposite side. Then back again, just as slowly. Then face forward. Inhale, open. Exhale, arms down. Rest your fingertips on the floor. Stay long in your spine. Inhale, reach your right arm up alongside your ear. Exhaling, let it drape across your head. And let the weight of your arm gently draw your head to the right. If you want, you can lift your left fingertips up just a little and reach out through your fingertips. If your left fingertips are raised, let them down. Let your neck stay relaxed and passive. Let your right hand slide across your head and come down to your cheek, and use your right arm to nudge your head upright. Let your right hand down. Inhale, lift your left arm. As you exhale, let it drift over. Gently, gently, draw your head to the left. If you want, raise your right hand a little and extend out through your fingertips. If your left hand is lifted, let it down. If your right hand is lifted, let it down. Let your neck remain passive. Let your left hand slide across and come down. Let your arm do the work. Lift your head back up. And let that hand down. Shift up onto your hands and knees. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. With an inhale, reach your left arm forward. If you want, on an inhale, pick your right foot up and reach straight back. And if you want, bend your knee, reach back. If you can, grab your foot or your ankle, kick against your hand, lift your knee and your chin. Release and lower down. Reach back and press into the wall of your left foot. On an inhale, reach your right arm forward. If you want, on the next inhale, pick your left foot up and reach straight back. And if you want, bend your knee, reach that hand back, see about taking that bind. Stretching your quads, opening your shoulder. Release and lower down. Inhale, bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, bring your heart up, let your head and tailbone come down. Take 2 or 3 more breaths with that. And after your next exhale, come back to your table. We'll start exploring some twists from here. The twist begins at the waist, works up the spine, and leads into an arm extension. And from there, we'll explore maybe getting a little more pretzel-like and some other extensions. So going to the right first, starting small. Inhale, twist through your lower back, your middle back, your upper back, then reach your right arm out and up. Look up towards your hand. As you exhale, bring your hand down, reach it across under your body behind the other arm. And do it 2 more times, and maybe each one gets a little bigger than the one before. And then nice and gently, let your right shoulder down to the floor. Very gently, let the right side of your head come down to the floor. If your head's hovering in the air and it doesn't want to reach the floor, shift your hips forward until it does. You could stay right here. Sometimes this feels like a lot, and it can be enough, just right there. If you want to explore more, you could reach back and press into the ball of your left foot. If you feel more adventurous, you could pick your foot back up and reach back in the air. This can let you tip to the right and you slowly topple onto your back. You could also try bringing your left foot over towards your right hand like that. Or you can skip it all, keep both knees on the ground. Just focusing on this inward twist of the right shoulder. You can also explore, if you want, reaching your left arm up towards the ceiling and rotating your arm in the socket like an owl or a weather vane, turning back and forth. Or you can fold your arm to your back, bend your elbow and reach maybe towards your opposite hip. Anywhere on your back that the back of your hand lands is fine. And rewinding it all bit by bit. If you moved your left hand, bring it back over here and plant it near your face, lean into it for support. If you move your left leg, bring it back in line with the mat. If it's not, and then bring the knee down, pressing into your left hand. Big inhale. Open up and reach up and look up toward your hand. Exhaling, bring it down to the floor. Take a few breaths. Cow pose, cat pose. After the next exhale, come back to your table. Same sequence, opposite way, twisting to the left. Inhale, twist through your lower spine, middle spine, and upper spine, and reach your left arm out and up. Look up towards your hand. Exhale, come down, and reach across. And we do it 2 more times before we lower down. And maybe explore those other options. Remembering to be very gentle. Let the left shoulder down. And then the left side of the head. And then if you want, reach back with the right foot pressing to the floor. Or lifting the foot, or bringing it over towards your left hand. You can keep your right hand as it is for stability, or explore reaching up, rotating back and forth, or the half bind. If your right hand is not on the floor, bring it back, ground into it. If your right knee is not on the floor, take your time to rewind that leg. Coming back to both knees planted. Pressing into the right hand, huge inhale, open up and reach up and look up. Exhale, come down, back to table. Back to cow and cat. From table, let's try something a little different transition. From table, we're going to step to plank, and we're not going to spend a long time here in plank, so don't worry if plank's not your favorite thing. Reach one foot back, and then the other. And even if you just find the long plank for a moment, if you prefer the shorter plank, just let your knees down. Make sure either way your hips are in line with your shoulders and knees. So planks come in different lengths. Exhale, slowly lower to the floor, keeping your elbows in towards your body, letting your toes untuck. As you lower down, you can rest on your chin or rest on one cheek if it's not comfortable to rest on your chin. Reach your arms out to the sides, palms down on the floor. Now we're going to work our shoulders like in the opposite direction. And maybe also explore arm and the leg extensions here, as we like. Gripping the floor with your right hand. Walk your left hand in towards you, pressing away from the floor to open the front of your right shoulder against the floor and roll up onto your right hip. Let the right side of your head rest on the floor. If it's not comfortably reaching the floor, you could have a folded towel or yoga blanket between your ear and the floor. Maybe just the edge of the mat folded up for a little more height. So this might feel like a lot on your right shoulder. You can just stay with this. If you want to explore, you can lift your left leg away from the right, like opening scissors. Let your heels slowly drift back, the legs still long at first. If that feels okay and you want to go further, bend your knee. Nice and slowly, and let the weight of your leg hang. Now, the weight of your leg, the weight of your foot, will draw your foot towards the floor, maybe a little, maybe a lot, but don't push it down. Let the action of your breath maybe deepen this exploration. So maybe the foot keeps drifting down, maybe it stops, maybe it surprises you and touches down on the floor. And similar to the twists we did from table pose, if you want, you could reach your left arm up towards the ceiling, explore rotating in the shoulder socket, or explore half bind, reaching the back of your hands to your back. Maybe it doesn't even feel that different than when you did it from table. To me, it feels pretty different. I think in the table twist, the pelvis is maybe at a 45-degree angle relative to the floor, and here my pelvis is roughly perpendicular to the floor, not exactly. Maybe it's 80 degrees. And just like with our other pretzels, we'll come out bit by bit. If you moved your right hand, bring it back over here and plant it, similar to how we came out of the other pretzel. If you moved your left leg, take your time, go stage by stage. You can lift the foot and then lengthen the leg. And then bring the leg forward above the other leg. And take your time to let it down. Close the scissors. Walk your left hand back out to the side. Take your time. Come to rest on your belly. You can rest on your chin or on one cheek. Sometimes resting on the chin isn't comfortable. Sometimes resting on the cheek isn't comfortable. Take a few noticing breaths. Check out each shoulder, each hip, any other spots that are speaking up as you listen in to see what's going on in your body, see what's changed from when practice began. Now, if you're resting on one cheek, come and rest on your chin just for a moment before we transition to the other side. Gripping the floor with your left hand, slowly walk your right hand in, pressing away from the floor. With that arm, pressing the front of the left shoulder open against the floor and rolling up onto your left hip, left side of your head resting on the floor or on whatever propping you might need. If you want, open your legs. If you want, bring your right heel back with the leg long. If that feels okay and you want to go further, slowly bend your knee. And try to let the leg go limp. Let the weight of the foot and the leg just hang. And see what happens in that hip over the next few breaths. If you want, you can reach your right arm up and explore rotating in your shoulder socket, or explore a half bind, or skip them both and just leave your right hand planted on the floor. And taking your time on doing any extensions you're in. If you have moved your right hand, plant it again and stabilize. And then if you've moved your right leg, slowly raise your foot, extend your leg, and bring it forward. Gently let it down. Nice and easy, walk your right hand back out to the side. Pause again for a few breaths. Bring your hands in under your shoulders. Pressing into your hands, inhale, lift your head and chest to whatever height feels okay to you. Look over your right shoulder, look for your heel. Slowly come back through center. Look to the left, look for your left heel. And do it 1 or 2 more times to each side. And if you need to lower down to keep going with the side to side, that's fine. Just gently lower yourself down to whatever height's okay. And then come back through center. Press back to table, sort of. Bring your big toes together. Open your knees wider if you like. Sit back and make your way to child's pose. Notice how your breath feels in this more closed shape. Scan your body. Bring yourself slowly forward and up to table. And then shift forward through like an upward dog or just a cobra, and exhale, lower back down to the floor. We're going to do some more stuff. Working belly down on the floor. Reach your arms out to the sides with your elbows bent. Cactus arms. And then draw your left knee towards your left elbow and picture your leg. Don't try to look at your leg, but picture your leg bent at a right angle so that your wrist and your elbow and your knee and your ankle are all lined up. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Feel for that. Imagine that. That's close enough. Now press into your hands and your forearms and lift your head and chest, maybe just a little. And you can let down anytime you need to. If you want to go further, start to wiggle your hands and your elbows in towards each other. See if you can make your way to Sphinx Pose, where your elbows are under your shoulders. Now, if you want to go further here, you can explore pivoting your left arm. Bring your left hand over towards your right elbow, so your forearms are perpendicular. Wait, I did that wrong. Bring the left hand forward. Pivot the right arm so the right hand is near the left elbow. There we go. Then, if you want to explore further, reach your right heel towards your butt. Start to look over your left shoulder, leaning into your right forearm. And if you want, maybe pick up your left arm. Maybe you can reach back and grab that foot. I can just touch my heel, like here we grab. Come out nice and slowly, bringing the arm forward and resting on it for support, turning the head forward, slowly letting the foot down, pivot the right hand forward back to Sphinx arms, and just rewinding it all. Start to wiggle your elbows away from each other, your hands away from each other, lowering your chest and your head as you go. So we come back down to cactus arms. If it's not comfortable to rest on your chin, rest on one cheek. Gently and slowly draw the left leg back over to the mat. And now your hip and your knee and your ankle are all in a long line. And we'll try it for the other side. Draw your right knee up towards your right elbow. Picture that long line from your ankle to your knee, to your elbow, to your wrist. Maybe they're all lined up, maybe they're not. Press into your hands and forearms, lift your head and chest. Maybe a little, maybe more. If you want, you can start to walk your elbows and hands towards center line. And maybe you can come to Sphinx. If you want, pivot your left forearm so your left hand is over by your right elbow. Maybe bend your left knee, reach your heel toward your butt. Slowly, if you want, turn your head to the right. Take your time to reach the right hand back and see about that bind. Sometimes the bind works better on one side than the other. There we go. Got my foot in my hand this time, which I didn't manage on the other side. Whenever you're ready, just take your time to rewind it all bit by bit. Let go of the bind if you've got it. Plant the right elbow and the right hand. Turn your head forward. Pivot the left hand forward. Let the left foot down. Slowly walk hands and elbows out to the sides to cactus arms. Rest on your chin or on one cheek. Then lastly, take your time to bring that right leg back to center line. If you're resting on one cheek, turn your head to center, rest on your chin. Not for very long. Reach your hands back next to your hips with the palms down. You don't have to touch your hips, just somewhere near your hips. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, lift your feet, lift your hands, and maybe you lift your knees. Reaching the tips of your toes away from the crown of your head. Nice long curve like an archery bow. With an exhale, slowly lower down. If you want to pause on one cheek, you can. Turn your head back to center if you were resting on one cheek. Bend both knees, reach both heels towards your butt. One side at a time, reach your hand back, take hold of your foot or ankle or pant leg. And when you have a good grip on one side, do the other side. So whatever you can grab on, maybe it's just the bottom of your leggings, maybe it's just holding your heels between your thumb and forefinger or something. Some kind of a grip. Maybe it's a strap wrapped around the front of your feet, one end of the strap in each hand. That works too. Kicking against your hands or your strap. Inhale, lift your chin, lift your chest, drawing your heels towards your butt, maybe your knees lift. Doesn't matter whether they do or not, shoulder blades drawing together, belly lifting you up and down as you breathe. Nice and gently and lower down, keeping the bind, as long as you can anyway. Then release the bind, but keep your feet sticking up. If it's not comfortable resting on your chin, rest on one cheek. Like windshield wipers, let your legs glide back and forth. And then let your feet down. Bring your hands in under your shoulders. Inhale, lift your head and chest to any height you want. Press back sort of loosely through table. We're just making our way to a seat. You can cross your ankles and walk your hands into your knees until you roll over your ankles, or you can tip onto one hip. Swing the legs around. Let's extend our legs forward and flex our feet back. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold down, letting knees bend as needed. When you inhale, think of coming forward. When you exhale, think of lowering. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Bring your hands behind you and make your way down onto your back. If you want to plant your feet and point your knees up as you do so to stabilize, feel free. However you want to get there, let's all meet here, lying down flat. We did a lot for our shoulders today, but also for our hips. And often at this point in practice, we do bridge pose or some variation of it. We're going to do fish pose today instead of anything with bridge pose. So fish pose goes like this. Raise your right hip, slide your right hand under your butt with your palm down, and then sit on the back of your hand. And then do the same thing with your left hip and left cheek and left hand. So you're sitting on the backs of both hands. Palms flat on the floor. Zip your feet and legs towards each other. And then somewhat similar to a hand bind that we sometimes do in bridge, walk your elbows in towards each other. So your hands aren't going to move, they're pinned, but you're walking your elbows in towards each other. And as you do, you're walking your shoulder blades in towards each other. So you end up lifting part or all of your back off the floor, bringing the weight into your forearms. So for me, I've got heels, calves, palms, forearms, elbows, and head touching the floor. No part of my back or my neck is touching now, but everybody's different. Just notice the change in grounding. It's a funny position. Still zipping the legs and feet together. Nice and gently, nice and slowly. Lift your head, keeping a long spine. Think of a curve. So we're not bending the chin towards the chest. We're lifting the head and the chest, pressing against those elbows. And then picture yourself, like if you can see yourself in profile, keep the shoulders raised as they are, Gently and slowly let your neck disengage. Let the weight of your head come towards the floor. No rush. Let the crown of your head just barely find the floor. Maybe you just feel like the contact of your hair. Definitely not pressing any weight against your head. Just let it rest. Take some deep breaths. On the exhales, release any sound that seems to want to come out. So it might just be a sigh, like on a clearing breath. It might be a growl. It might be a yell. It might be a swear. Whatever it is, let it out. It's a groan. Do as many as you want. When you're ready to come out, now we're going to lift the head just off the floor. And then we are going to draw the chin towards the chest. So keeping the shoulders about where they are, chin towards the chest, face your top. Then with the chin towards the chest, let your shoulders down, feel your shoulder blades reconnect. Gently, gently, the back of your head come down to the floor. And still taking your time. Gonna wriggle one arm out with one hip, free up that hand, and then the same on the other side. And sometimes it feels good to shake things out or bang the hands on the floor. Maybe something went to sleep, or just feel the need to stimulate return of circulation. Something you had pinned under you. Draw your knees towards your chest and hug your knees. And rock and roll to massage your back against the ground. And after all that deep work, let's take a nice, simple, and gentle twist. Arms out to the sides, palms up. The closer your knees come to your torso, the deeper your twist will feel. So you decide if your knees are in close or a more intense twist. Your knees could be so far away that your feet are planted, or anywhere in between. Keeping shoulders grounded, let your knees go to the left and turn your head to the right. Take your time when you're ready to bring your head and your knees up through center line. Allow the movement to just continue, simply carrying you into the opposite twist. Come on back up to the center. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up, take hold of your legs or your feet. However you want. Play with bending and straightening your limbs in whatever way feels nice for you today. And you can invert for as long as you want to. When you're done with that, add in anything else you want before your final resting pose and make your way there when you feel complete. Just like when we started, finding whatever position is comfortable for you, including closing your eyes if you want, resting your hands where you like. Maybe you return to focusing on your breath, where we began. Or you focus on something else. Or you give yourself permission to not bother focusing. Give yourself some deeper breaths. Invite small movements to return to your body. Letting them lead into gradually bigger and bigger movements. Moving mindfully and gently. When you're ready, take your time to sit up. And if you like, bring your hands up to your heart. Thank you for sharing your practice today. A light within you sees and honors that same light within each of you. Namaste.